Welcome back to another episode of the Cain and Day Show. I'm your host, Cain. You can find me on Twitter at Killing Cain and YouTube at Killing Cain. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the people what we're talking about today.
Yeah, we're looking at the Super Bowl matchup. That is on Sunday.
It's going to be a good one.
I don't think so, but you know.
Well, we'll see who you bet on and see if that comes true or not. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Day. You can find me on Twitter, Realdaygaming1. Follow the show on Twitter, the Cain and Day Show.
Please do it, guys. We want to talk to you. We really do. Especially with Super Bowl coming up. But as you said, we're going to get into the matchup, so we're going to break it down by position group and talk about both sides, kind of what they've got, and give our grade, and then we'll give predictions probably towards the end. So, which side do we want? Like, who? Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Let's break down the quarterback position for both teams. We'll go starter and backup.
Backup.
Well, you know, there's two quarterbacks on the team, so.
And only two of the four are going to play.
That is true. But we can go just kind of off our personal opinions there. So let's start with the quarterback room. What would you like to start out with saying about him?
Kansas City has a better quarterback.
It's true. Quarterback, but quarterback room.
Gardner Minshew is nobody.
Hey, don't you ever disrespect the man with jorts again. Love that
Chad
guy.
Henne has more big game experience than Gardner does.
That is true. Both sides are good, though. When you look at it with the surrounding team that they have on the field, Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent. Won't ever doubt him. Dude has been great. He's made it to 5 AFC championships in 5 years as a starter. That's pretty impressive if you ask me. But he has been nothing less than fantastic his entire career so far. And, you know, he was a big reason they had that comeback win against the 49ers in the Super Bowl, I believe, 4 years ago. So.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. It was in Miami.
Yep. They played the 49ers, and then they played the
Patriots.
The
Buccaneers.
Bucks. The Bucks.
Tom Brady.
But Patrick Mahomes is that guy. As you said, Chad Henne also has experience back there. In big time
biggest
games.
4th and 4 against the Browns. Come on now.
And
that was the year they won.
Yeah. And
that saved their season.
When you look at the Eagles side, though, Jalen Hurts has kind of came out of nowhere these last 2 years. You know, he's just the kind of complete underdog story type of guy, right? A lot of people are saying, well, he's not that good. And it's like, hey, he's pretty good. Like,
want to make it clear, just because I said Patrick Mahomes is better does not mean I'm saying that Jalen Hurts sucks.
So let's
that clear.
Like, I want to put this into perspective for you guys. When I was talking about Jalen last year to this man, he was like, who? And you know what? Over the summer, you know what he said? It's Jalen Hurts season.
Always
Jalen Hurts season. Yes, Jalen Hurts has a top end receiving room, has A+ at running back, right? All the best things a quarterback needs in a really good system. And Nick Sirianni has been fantastic as a head coach. Not gonna put that up like it was a good transition from Doug Peterson, who was beloved in Philly. I don't know if they had one in between. I don't think they did. Well,
so.
but it's a good transition from Doug Peterson to Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is a very serious guy, and you know, fantastic for that system. But I mean, let's not forget, Jalen is also right here in the MVP conversation. They're the two front runners for the award this year. So overall, I'm giving the Chiefs A+ for their quarterback, and I'm going to give the Eagles an A. Because Jalen Hurts is good.
He's good, but Mahomes is better.
He can do it all. He can do it on the ground. He can throw the ball. The dude's kind of built different and doesn't get tackled either. So, but what would your grades be?
I mean, it's hard to argue what you said.
Okay.
It's like I said, it's not that Jalen is bad. I just think Mahomes is better. And I have more faith in him, even though Jalen got benched in the national championship game.
He did, and that's why it's kind of this big underdog story that I'm here for.
And, they had a pretty, I'd say, simple road to, the Super Bowl. And sometimes all you need is luck to get there.
Right, but there have been easy roads to the Super Bowl before. This one just seemed a little bit like the easiest you've ever seen. They only allowed 7 points a game, or runs, or whatever it is. Not runs. I'm dumb. That's baseball. But they only put
I was just gonna let it go.
they've only allowed 7 in 2 games in the playoffs, which is a pretty productive Giants offense that you've seen. Those last couple of weeks. Those last couple of weeks, they kind of turned it on get people, and they held Saquon. That was the huge one. Is they didn't really let Saquon do anything. But we're getting sidetracked here. Let's go to the running back room. What running back room do you like more?
Philly. Not close.
100%. Kansas City has Isaiah Pacheco. And sometimes Jerick McKinnon. So, but let's not forget that in that game against the Giants, this whole running tandem that they got going for them with 4 dudes who can rush for over 100 yards. They almost put 300 rushing yards on the Giants. It's pretty impressive.
Yep. And Taylor didn't have to do a thing.
Kenneth Gainwell this is his playoffs. He has single-handedly been one of the biggest producers for this Eagles team. In the pass catch and in the run game. Against the Giants, I believe he had 111 yards. He may not have had all of the rushing yards against the 49ers, but he had big plays and big misses from defenders trying to get him. So this running back room is nothing, like you can't really compare these two. Because Isaiah Pacheco has had a phenomenal rookie year. I mean, he kind of stole the job from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Let's be honest here. True. You could see Clyde gone next year. Because you have Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon, who Jerick McKinnon has come out this year. He has been fantastic as well. So you don't need Clyde anymore. He didn't really do much for you because he's never healthy. And Pacheco was a guy who was drafted late or undrafted. I mean, it's kind of...
He's fast.
He's very fast and it's hard to tackle. But yeah, the Eagles just... Like I said, Kenneth Gainwell has been amazing. Dignitas' own Boston Scott has been very good in this playoff run as well.
They looked good yesterday. I don't think they need Boston right now.
Miles Sanders, very hit and miss kind of guy, but he's got more upside than he does downside, and Jalen also gets it done with the legs. So, huge upside on this Philly side, and I expect them to give Kansas City's defense a lot of trouble.
That is true.
So let's go to the wide receiver room. Who you got?
Well, just based off of the injury report, it has to be Philadelphia. It's got to be Philadelphia. It's not close again.
I think even if they had all their guys, it's
closer.
It's closer, but Philly, I still think, is by a landslide. You have a top 5 guy, a top 10 guy, and a top 3 tight end.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Well, yeah,
but he's not
don't get me wrong. So, we're gonna lump, wide receivers with the tight ends because they really only use one tight end each. And
the Kansas City's been using that other guy.
Yeah, but Travis is still getting 90% of the balls that are going to any tight end.
Don't be shocked if that guy scores a touchdown on Sunday.
I mean,
you
have Dallas Goedert and Travis Kelce. I think they're 1-2 this year. Dallas has been phenomenal, even though he went down with an injury earlier in the season. He was a fantasy monster, and he's been nothing but great this year. So I'm giving Travis the number 1. Of course, I think he's the greatest tight end to ever do it.
That's a stretch.
You just don't. You've never seen a tight end that can, like, you see the guys who can just run and stuff, but Kelce has such good footwork.
Tony Gonzalez, come on now.
I think once Travis hangs it up, I think it'll be close. It'll be definitely in, because you really have, in my opinion, you have two guys that kind of sit on top for the tight end room. You have Shannon, and you have good old Unk, and then you have Tony Gonzalez. I mean, I'm not gonna discredit Antonio Gates, those guys either, but I think clear, just more dominant players is Shannon Sharp and Tony Gonzalez. But I think Travis is catching them real quick because, man, it's just week in, week out. Number 1 receiver.
Yeah. Well, when they're projected to have 3 of their receivers being out.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's going to be
the one. It's one for sure because McCole Hardman was put on IR this morning.
That's tough to see. I really want to see.
At the time of recording, it was this morning.
I really wanted to see Mecole in the Super Bowl again.
And Juju and Kadavius are both questionable as of right now.
Oof. Ouchie.
That might change by the time this episode comes out, but as of right now, they are both set as questionable.
Okay. So now that we did the receiving group, let's go to the O-line.
That's, again, you know what? I'm going to sound like a hypocrite at the end, but just know that a lot of these aren't close.
No. Hands down, Philly has the best offensive line in the league.
Why they rush for 225 yards a game.
And you have not
Don't
one.
Don't quote me on that stat, I'm just guessing.
That's fair. But not only do they have one, but they have 2 Hall of Fame linemen.
Yeah.
There. And the funny part is, Jason Kelce is undersized as a center.
But he gets his job done.
He's strong. He's very strong. And nobody can compete with Lane Johnson. Just nobody.
No.
Nobody gets past Lane Johnson. He is, I'm going to throw hands at you. Their whole O-line is really done well. They got some cap kind of freed up from their O-line over the offseason and drafted well.
Mm-hmm.
And had great signings. They really
want when you have a front office that cares.
And, let's not mention the clown himself, Jerry Jones, saying the Eagles are doing are stupid. Did you see that?
No.
Well, Jerry came out and said they're spending all their money to just win this year, and it's like, that doesn't make no sense.
All your money on Dak. It's crazy.
And Jerry Jones likes where he's at. Well, guess what? The Eagles have made the Super Bowl twice in the last 6 years.
Yeah, because they won 52.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that. 2017, I'll tell you that.
But, they've in the last 6 years, they made it to Super Bowl 2 times.
Cowboys haven't seen it since 95, so exactly. I wasn't even born yet.
Exactly. Oh, God, I was 1 year old then. But, yeah, hands down, don't get me wrong, Kansas City has a great O-line, but Patrick knows how to work that pocket, and he can get out of things that he shouldn't get out of. But hands down, just the Eagles have the superior line. Jalen Hurts really didn't see much pressure this year, and that's
no.
And another.
Well, when your run game's that strong too, I mean,
you don't really need to. But he's still never, when he's throwing the ball, he doesn't get pressure. And he's a lot of time in the pocket, so it's fantastic. All right, next up, we have the defensive line.
There's going to be a trend here.
Eagles. Again, you have Chris Jones and Frank Clark on the other team. But what this Philly defensive line has done, and Hassan Reddick should be in the DPOY conversation.
Yep, and the guy standing next to him has won that award before.
Oh, is his name Fletcher Cox? Or is it Brandon Graham?
Or Ndamukong Suh?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they have Ndamukong Suh, Fletcher,
who they picked up in November, so he's still fresh.
Yeah, and then you have Hassan Reddick, Ndamukong Suh, Fletcher Cox, and Brandon Graham on that line. And Brandon Graham has comeback player of the year mentality. Dude is the whole team is balled out, and then you have Frank Clark, who is really, really good.
And Chris Jones.
And Chris Jones, who, we all kind of wrote off a while ago. And then he came out with a vengeance this year, and he is in that D-boy conversation. But when you only have 2 guys, when the other team has 4, it's tough. All right, linebackers. Where are we going?
Probably still the Eagles.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so there's a trend here.
I don't really know much about the linebacking crew for both teams because you don't really hear about it. Because they're not really kind of the spotlight of the year. At least for the Eagles' case, probably their weakest spot is the middle linebacker position. But again, Kansas City doesn't have a whole lot on their defense when you look at the grand scheme of things. So I just think not landslide, but Philly.
They held so many teams under 20 points this year.
Not to mention they
had to be doing something good.
They've only allowed 14 in the postseason, so.
Well, the Niners didn't have a quarterback.
That's true. All right, let's go to the secondary.
With Ladarius Sneed not having his helmet on Friday, I don't think he's playing Sunday with a concussion. That hurts. He is very good.
Yep.
Big play Slay on the other side, former Detroit Lion.
And not to mention,
you either start your career here or end it.
And let's not forget how many other players this Eagles secondary has.
Bradbury,
CJG.
I always forget Bradbury's first name.
Then you have their safety, I would believe, is Maddox. They've activated so many people in their secondary against the 49ers. They're coming off injury. And so they basically have their full force. Hands down, Trent McDuffie has played very well for Kansas City, but he's still a rookie and he's making some mistakes. There were times in that game against the Bengals where he was locked down. Just couldn't touch him. And then, he got burned on some big plays that put the Bengals in a really good position. But then you also have the double rookies that are on, I believe, the right side, who they tipped it. The guy tipped it to the other rookie on that pick to T. Higgins, I believe, or Tyler Boyd. You know what play I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Those rookies have played well. They were, I want to believe, a 4th and a 6th round pick. So, but this Philly deep, secondary is just fast. And, again, they were kind of clamping up. It didn't even matter because you look at the 49ers team, right? Their O-line is really good.
That's true.
You could have argued that they had the second best O-line in the league. And
why? They had so many rushing yards. McCaffrey went off.
And the Eagles' front 4 were causing mayhem
in their face.
That's
the whole game.
And that's the one thing I see. This secondary also blitzes a lot. And they have success doing it, but it's also a high risk, high reward. You get a sack,
right.
maybe a strip, or you're going to give up 20 yards because the guy that you're supposed to be covering is now 20 yards downfield untouched. So, but I think the secondary, hands down, goes to the Eagles. They have been very good. Darius Slay revitalized his career this year. So, let's go with kickers. Not close. Harrison Butker's the second best kicker in the league. I think it goes. Jake Elliott is 100% in the conversation, right? He's
top 10.
I think he's top 6. But I think the three best kickers right now is Justin Tucker, Harrison Butker, and McPherson.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. They have a great. Both sets of kickers are great, but Harrison Butker is, like you said, second best kicker in the league. Mm-hmm. Dude doesn't miss. He's literally automatic, and his furthest kick, I want to believe, is like 54 yards. So,
well, when you have Patrick Mahomes getting you within the 20 every time, the red zone.
That's true.
I think Jake Elliott did make a 63-yarder earlier in the year.
That wouldn't surprise me.
No, he's got a good leg.
He does. Let's go punter. I'm going to say the Chiefs on this one because I believe it's Townsend, right?
Sure.
I don't know.
Actually, I think that is the one guy. It is. That is the one guy on the Eagles injury report. It is their punter.
Yeah, and you know what?
He is on IR.
He did not do good punting in the championship game. I'll tell you that.
He broke his ankle. I think he broke his ankle.
He had to talk about it hitting the camera.
And then shake the next two. It was bad bounce for him.
He just was not on his game in that championship game. It was not good. So I'm giving this to the Chiefs. I don't think we need to talk about returners because I don't think the returners for both teams are that good. I mean,
and Hardman are hurt.
You have Sky Moore, who had one good return this year, and that was in the championship game. And
after Hardman got hurt again.
I believe it's either Boston Scott or Kenneth Gainwell for the Eagles. And sometimes Devonta Smith, but Devonta Smith should not be in punt return or kick return situations. He just shouldn't.
Not anymore.
He's just as good as A.J. Brown. You can't risk getting him hurt. Predictions. We got. I know you got the Chiefs.
Yeah. We had the Chiefs only having the best quarterback, kicker, and punter by default because Philly's punter's hurt. But I am taking the Chiefs 31-28.
I heard that prediction today. I did go around and ask the majority of coworkers who's going to win and what the score will be. And I heard a lot of 31-28s. I also heard that, the 49ers fans who are salty, they hope that somebody has a non-lethal heart attack and they have to stop the game. Yeah, it was my cousin, and I was like, that's kind of fucked up, man.
That's even worse.
I was like, that's kind of fucked up. You don't have to be a salty 49ers fan. Your coach just can't get to the dance again. That's his own fault.
I also want to point out that the team wearing white has lost the last 8. As well as whoever won the coin toss has also lost the last 8. Just throwing that out there.
Well,
the Chiefs are in white.
Oh, ouchie! Trying to break the curse with some money.
I will place my bet after the coin toss.
I think that it will be Philly. I think there's too many factors at play that make Philly the just clear favorite to win. Even
though the spread's only 1.5 right now.
I don't care about gambling because I can't do it.
Yeah, but it's not even gambling. That's just what Vegas believes the score will be within 2.
How right is Vegas?
95% of the time.
I don't believe it.
The over-under is 50.5.
I get the whole fact that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of our generation. And stuff like that, but when you have the Phillies O-line who's gonna more than likely stop Frank Clark and Chris Jones, because you can really only rush 4 because Jalen can sling it. If you only rush 4 and you have guys down the field and he's got too much time in the pocket, he's just going to roll out and run for 15 yards. Or he's going to hand it off to one of his circus, running back room where they're going to run all over the place. Or you're going to throw the ball because their secondary is not that great. And A.J. Brown should have a huge game. But then you also have to look at the defensive side, right? Hassan Reddick is going to be a menace. He is going to be a menace. And I think that the Eagles win. They put up 34-36, and the Chiefs only put up 14.
No.
They've only allowed 14 points this postseason against, I get it, Daniel Jones and Saquon, but they've had a lot of guys who have stepped up in the last coming weeks of the season and in their first game against where they beat the Vikings. They completely shut them down. 49ers, yes, Brock Purdy went out. Josh Johnson couldn't do a damn thing. But they stopped McCaffrey, and they locked up everybody, but also the quarterback never had time because they were blowing through that O-line, and we considered them to be the second best offensive line in the league.
Now answer me this. Who is the best team in the last 23 years?
The best team?
Yep.
Well, a couple teams come to mind. Are we going to, win or,
nope.
Won the Super Bowl, just the best teams?
Just the best team.
I want to say...
There's only one right answer, by the way.
I mean, it's not... I don't think it's Kansas City.
No.
It's the Patriots.
Yep. It's the 16-0 Patriots.
That's exactly what I was going to say, but there's a couple teams
what happened to them
they lost
Super Bowl?
They lost in the Super Bowl. But,
The Eagles they beat Kansas City in just about every bracket. Except Sunday, when they lose to them.
That's we both have our thoughts about it.
That's true.
I'm gonna be partying with my friends and my dad, so that's gonna be great. We're gonna be watching the Super Bowl, having a good time. What are your plans for the Super Bowl?
Right here in this chair.
You're not gonna watch with your mom?
No, they're hosting a party at a different house.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, we're hosting.
Personal choice.
That's fair. We're hosting. I was like, "Hey, Dad, why don't you come watch the Super Bowl with me? We'll make a deal about it. We'll get some pizza. We'll get some chips and dip. We might make our own dip. Get a little good in there. But now Sunday should be great. Should be a fun time. Also, hopefully, look out for later in the week, guys, because we might be doing a baseball pod and just reviewing the World Baseball Classic Team USA roster, and we'll give our thoughts and opinions on that. Hopefully, we'll get that out to you this week.
And hopefully, I am not hungover on Monday.
Yeah, that'd be unfortunate because I have to go to work on Monday. So
I guess we do these recordings late at night, so you know what? I wouldn't be hungover anymore.
You should be good. But anyway, guys, true. I think that's gonna do it for us today. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. If you're watching over on YouTube, go ahead and leave a like on the video. Also, subscribe to the channel. Tell us what your Super Bowl prediction is. Eagles or Chiefs? Let's hear it from you. Hit us up on Twitter and all that stuff. Where can they find you?
On Twitter at Realdaygaming1, and the show's Twitter's The Cain and Day Show.
And you can also find me on Twitter and YouTube at The Cain and Day Show, or at Killing Cain. My bad. It's been a day. You can find me. Yeah, that's true. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube at Killing Cain. Also, I am on another podcast, full time now. So you should also give that a listen to. You can follow it on Spotify and YouTube at Kicking It with Coach Red. So I am Cain, and this is Day, and we'll talk to you guys next time.